Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. My name is Mordecai the Hunter, and today we are roasting stages from the Comanche Valley Vigilantes annual Halloween match. This match is 10 stages over Halloween weekend and is a ton of fun. The club puts out spooky decorations, they do a costume contest, the stage lines and starting positions are themed, and they even do special paint for the targets. Now, the thing that makes this match unique is the entry fee is relatively low, but you can purchase Boo-Hoo tickets, which you can use to ignore a miss, as well as Booligan tickets, which you can turn into reshoot a stage. And of course, the money goes towards insurance and rage improvements, so really, every time you make a mistake, you're helping the club out. For me, this was an opportunity to see what my maximum potential would be if I shot a perfect match, so I really pulled out all the stops knowing that I could buy my way out of a miss or a train wreck stage. With that in mind, I will say that I only used one miss ticket, which I'll point out when we get there, and I did not have to reshoot any of the stages, so I still think I did a pretty good job, even though I was working under false confidence. Anyway, now that you have some context, let's move on to the fun stuff. Here's what you missed on the range.
Alrighty, so our posse started at the stockyards. Looks like we've got 10 rifle at position 2, 10 pistol at position 3, and then 4 plus shotgun staged at position 1 or 4. Gun order is shooter's choice, rifle not last, and the starting position is hands on hat. At the beep, engage the targets in a double tap sweep. 2 shotgun are from position 1 and 2 are from position 4. So we got some choices, but nothing too crazy for the first stage. Let's see what happens.
Hope you got another payday coming.
Stand by. Exactly. $21.57. 21.573.
Okay, so not too bad for a first stage. I know I usually like starting with the rifle, and I did briefly consider doing that since moving to the right from the rifle is a more natural transition. But I have the shotgun staged at position 1, which is to the left of the rifle, so going to the pistols next would mean moving farther away, and I feel like any time I would have saved with the transition would be eaten up by the movement. Now, in a perfect world, the transition from pistol to rifle means that as I'm putting the left pistol away, I can reach for the rifle with my right hand and start to bring it to my shoulder. Then, as I feel that the pistol is seated, the buttstock is already in position, so I just bring my left hand forward, lift the front of the rifle to my line of sight, and I'm ready to rock and roll. That's still a work in progress, but you get the idea. Now, you might be thinking, hey Mordecai, why not put your shotgun in position 4, then you can start with your rifle, take advantage of the natural transition to the right with your pistols, and then another step to the right for your shotgun. It's the perfect plan! And you would be correct if there were only 2 shotgun targets. Doing it that way would mean I'm having to shotgun turn left for the last set of knockdowns, which does not work well for right-handed shooters. Anyway, I was a little sad about that jacked round ruining a beautiful sweep, but not sad enough to use my mulligan, so let's move on. Alrighty, stage 2 is at the Gallows, and it looks like 10 pistol holster, 10 rifle, and no shotgun. Starting with the rifle at the ready, engage the targets by single tapping the outside targets on the left or right hand side, then double tapping the center target, and then repeat on the opposite side. Pistol same as rifle. Let's see what happened.
Want to go fast?
Stand by.
Ooh, you almost shot that middle.
Yeah, right there on top of that.
876.
Almost bought that P, didn't I? The rifle targets look pretty tiny here, but you do get to start on one of them, and they are pretty close together, so that's nice. There's a lot of movement on the pistol targets, and the center target is a little smaller, but the setup here is really pretty forgiving. For the rifle, the pattern allows for a nice left-to-right sweep, and then we only have to pull back to the left for the double tap in the center. For the pistols, we can save half a second by using the transition to aim at the far right target and shooting to the left. This way, we only have to move the pistol in one direction, as opposed to continuing the sweep and then having to pull back for the double tap in the center. At least that was the plan anyway. This is a good example of why I pulled the trigger on the first shot rather than trying to slip hammer everything. It definitely saved my bacon this time. Anyway, stage 3 is at the jail and we're back to using all 3 guns this time. It's written kind of funky, but the shotgun is staged outside to the left of the rifle, so in position 0, I guess, going left to right. Anyway, the start and gun order is shooter's choice, rifle not last, and the pattern is a progressive sweep, so 1-on-1, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, and 4-on-4. The shotgun says at least 2 shots, so if you get lucky and knock down 2 with a single shot, you don't have to fire the extra round. Let's see what happened.
Ah! Hey, spiders!
Stand by. And clean.
So in case you couldn't tell, I really enjoyed the stage lines at this shoot. Anyway, as I've said before, I always shoot shotgun last if I have the option, so here we are starting with the pistols. Since we are moving to the left after we get done, I chose to start on the right-hand target. This allows me to be positioned closer to the left, which is the direction I'll be going in, puts the left target directly in front of me, which is important since it'll get the most shots, and keeps me from turning as much to get to the rifle compared to ending on the right-hand target. I will say I was super happy with this rifle transition. The transfer to the right hand is perfect, and I'm able to start turning almost immediately. Can you tell I've been practicing? It also freed up my left hand to start grabbing at shells so they're ready for the shotgun. I didn't get any twofers, but I still thought it went pretty smooth. Anyway, I know there were some folks that reversed the gun order, but it didn't seem as efficient to me. The doorway from the shotgun to the rifle is pretty narrow, so shucking while moving could be hazardous, and I wasn't super thrilled with the idea of trying to draw a pistol while moving backwards from the rifle. Okay, moving on to stage 4 at the corral. Looks like we have another shooter's choice stage with the guns basically in the same place, but no doorways and a different pattern this time. At the beep, engage the center target 3 times, 1 shot on each inside target, then 1 shot on each outside target, and then 3 more in the center. Let's see what happened.
Ghost Rider!
Stand by. Smoking. Good rifle. 1465, 1465.
Want me to start it now?
Okay, so the first thing I'll point out is that I did take some time off camera to find out what was more comfortable for drawing the first pistol. Since I usually put my left foot forward, it made more sense to point with the left hand and shade with my right hand. It puts my right hand close to the pistol without getting in the way of my natural shooting stance. Even without the barriers, I still chose to start with the pistols because I was worried about getting the pattern right quickly, and even though the split is pretty nice, I wanted to get it out of the way. I was pretty happy with the rifle work here. Shooting the bottom left target first made the most sense to me because it's initially a very small movement, and then we're mostly moving to the right. Now, obviously there's a big swing to the left for the last outside target, but then it's followed by another big swing to the center for the remaining shots. Anyway, I did have a little trouble on the first pistol, and I didn't do the rifle transition the way I wanted to, but a 1465 is still pretty solid, so let's go ahead and move on. Last stage for the first day was at Fort Brazos, which has the guns positioned a little differently, but is again shooter's choice on order. Looks like the pattern is 2 separate Nevada sweeps, so that's easy enough. Let's see how it went.
First shooter, first stage. Trick or treat!
Stand by. 1548, 1548. Clean.
All right, so that was awesome, and not a lot went wrong, so let's talk about what went right. First off, pistol transitions went great. This is a product of muscle memory, but if you find yourself struggling, one big key is to make sure that your holsters are always in the same place. Now, I'm using vertical holsters right now, but on my last rig, I just used Chicago screws to keep everything nailed down. Second, the setup was pretty good. I was able to stage the gun so I could shoot left to right, ending with the shotgun, and I was able to keep everything nice and tight with the footwork so that it was really only taking a step or two in between each gun, and of course in between the shotgun targets. Finally, I was really happy with my transitions. I was able to take advantage of holstering the last pistol while reaching for the rifle, and then I placed the shotgun close enough to be picking it up as I was putting the rifle down. So for each transition, I was able to combine movements and shave some time. I had to do a second shuck on the shotgun, but other than that, this was at the high end of my skill level, and a great way to end the day. Okay, so starting off at Cat's house on day 2, looks like we have another shooter's choice stage. I guess they didn't want anyone to complain about the gun order at this shoot. Anyway, we're starting at position 2 with hands at side. At the beep, knock down the 5 rifle targets and then alternate between 2 static targets for the remaining rounds. Then the pistols is a continuous Nevada sweep. Knock down the shotgun targets from position 1 and 3. So split shotguns. Let's see how it went.
Where's Candy?
Stand by. Up.
Eek. All right, starting a little rough this morning. I probably should have started with my pistols since they are closer at hand. See what I did there? With the starting position being hands and sides, but instead I decided the rifle first was the way to go. The theory was that we have a natural transition from the rifle to pistols, and then I can be holstering as I take a step to the shotgun. I think part of the reason I like to shoot rifle first is that the transition from rifle to pistol was the first transition to really come naturally to me. It's a little more difficult to transition to the left after shooting the rifle, and even though I had a good one yesterday, I just felt like the flow was better. Looking at it now, if I'd have done a transition like I did on stage 3 yesterday, I could have been reaching for shells instead of holstering, and it might have saved me a quarter second. Not that it really mattered since I missed a shotgun here. Looks like I'm aiming high, so I guess I need to add that to the list. And of course, remember, put your shotgun on the left so that you can be shucking as you're running to the right. Anyway, I've had better, but I've had way worse too, so I guess a 1985 isn't too bad for the first stage. Let's go ahead and move on. Stage 7 is at the train station. Looks like we have rifle at position 1, shotgun at position 2, and pistols at position 3, and starting with the rifle at the ready in position 1. Wait, it's not shooter's choice? Wow. Okay. Engage targets in a reverse badger sweep. They mean regressive sweep. 4 on 1, 3 on 2, 2 on 3, and 1 on 4. Then there's a reload and a bonus target. Move to position 2 and knock down the shotgun targets, then move to 3 and engage the pistol, same as rifle. Okay, so fewer choices to make here. Let's see what happened.
Going to the train station.
Stand by.
Alrighty, so unfortunately I chose poorly when asking someone to do the third-person video for this stage. I would have been interested to see if I could tell what that rifle hiccup was, but other than that I felt like this stage went pretty well. Had a quick start with the rifle at the ready, the reload was pretty smooth, transition to the shotgun seemed good, I didn't fumble the shells too much. It did look like I didn't hit the second shotgun target dead on, but it still went down. Pistol work was good too. Overall I had a 20:02 with a 5-second bonus, so final time of 15:02. Not too bad. Well, I seem to have lost the photo with the stage instructions for stage 8, but I'm pretty sure we didn't have a choice on gun order for this one either. The starting position was hands-on belt buckle with your shotgun shells staged in the candy bowl. Starting with the rifle, the pattern is single tap the first 3 targets and then double tap the last target, starting on either end. Move to the shotgun, fish out your shells, and knock down the targets, then move to the pistols and engage same as rifle. Let's see what happened.
Just one more piece of candy.
Stand by.
Missing. 2, 1, 6, 7, and 1.
Okay, so I told you it was coming. This is the stage I had to use a miss ticket on. Did you see which target it was? We'll get to that in a second. So the way the stage was written, we could shoot this pattern dirty, meaning you could start on the left for the first 5 and then start on the right for the second 5. So pretty much everyone did a single tap on the first 3 targets and then triple tap the last target before coming back to the left and double tapping target 1. It took me a minute to wrap my head around this, but it wasn't so bad when the timer went off. The real killer here for me was picking those stinking shells out of the candy bucket. Now, last year, people on your posse were allowed to shake the bucket, so I really got destroyed on this stage. But this year, I was able to kind of place them together with the primer spacing up, and I thought it was going to be so much better. But then, rather than grabbing them like I normally do from my belt, I had them sort of hanging from my fingers, so I still struggled to get them in the stinking chambers. So I finally get off that struggle bus, and I have a good transition from the shotgun to the first pistol. The transition to the second pistol was great too. Except I missed the first pistol shot by like a millimeter. Ugh, so sad. I managed to make it 7 stages shooting like a crazy person and finally had a miss on the first shot of a pistol of all things. So remember folks, there is no target too big that you can't try to shoot too fast and miss like a chump. Let's never speak of this again and move on to the next stage. Okay, stage 9 is at hot tamales with shotgun at position 1, rifle position 3, and pistols at position 4. And finally, back to shooter's choice on gun order. Starting with hands holding the candy bag at the beep, engage the targets in 2 identical sweeps, then knock down shotgun targets. So that looks pretty straightforward. Let's see how it went.
More candy, please!
Stand by. Very good. 1635, 1635, clean.
Alrighty, so I know I was all excited about shooter's choice, but you guessed it, we are starting with the pistols once again, because starting with the shotgun is for gunfighters. Anyway, funny story, I remember talking to Alias Hold'em about how it's best to shoot your pistols last as a gunfighter, and when I asked him about the whole risk of getting a hull stuck challenge, he told me the answer was just to not suck, which is funny, but not a compelling enough reason to change my strategy as a two-handed shooter. So if you're still watching and have a better reason, please leave me a comment, and if it's compelling enough, I'll even consider it and maybe add it in a later video. Anyway, this was another run at the high end of my skill level, so not a whole lot went wrong. In fact, I was very pleased with the pistol work, the rifle was solid and about as fast as I think I could have gone, and really the only strategy part aside from shooting the shotgun last was shooting the knockdowns first. The little cactuses don't actually fall, so the spotters just need to see it wiggle a little bit, but considering most of my shotgun misses have been the first target here lately, maybe I should have reversed that. Anyway, I was super pleased with the 1635 and consider myself redeemed from the stage we shall not speak of, so let's move on to the final stage. Okay, stage 10, last stage of the day, was at Lone Star Mercantile with the shotgun at position 1, rifle position 2, and pistols at position 3. Still shooter's choice for gun order, yes, and starting with hands on the table. At the beep with the pistols, sweep across the 5 targets and then dump 5 rounds on target 1 or 5. With the rifle, knock down the 5 plates and then dump the remaining on the right or left target, then knock down the shotgun targets. Let's see how it went.
Trick or treat, smell my feet!
Stand by.
I don't know, Charles.
Way to go, Mordecai.
1579 and clean.
Alright, so solid run. First thing I'll point out is that I did shoot the single taps left to right, but I dumped on the smaller target on the left. I figured this was a better way to do it for a couple of reasons. First, sweeping to the left to right is more natural, and the target that's farthest away is also the biggest, so that helps negate the distance. Then I can use the transition to the second pistol to refocus on the closer target, and this allows me to be closer to the rifle, so all I have to do is take a step and I'm right there. Now, watching this, I do a cross step and drag my rifle way down past where I had it staged for some reason. So either my cross step wasn't necessary or I should have staged the rifle a little farther away. The purpose of the cross step was to keep my body at kind of the same angle as I was moving laterally. I feel like I lose a lot of time turning when the folks that are really fast use this method instead, so it's just another thing I'm toying with, so I'm sure you'll hear me bring it up again. I did another cross step to get to the shotgun, and I did do a pretty successful left-hand transition, so pleased with that. Overall, this was another performance near the high end of my skill level, and I was very pleased to close out the day and the competition with a 1579. So, after it was all said and done, I ended up in second place overall. To be fair, that is world champion gunfighter Rusty Remington there in number 1 spot. If you look at the final score, he has me beat by 20-something seconds, which admittedly is a big gap, but if you look at the individual stages, I was within a few seconds of most of them, and I even managed to tie with him on stage 4. The reason that I'm showing you this is anytime I talk about shaving a second or half a second anywhere, it doesn't seem like much on a single stage, but for 10 stage competitions like this, if you shave a second off of each stage, that's 10 whole seconds. And if I could do that and suck less at pulling shotgun shells out of a candy bowl, I might have had a shot. Anyway, that's all I got for this episode. I think I can call them episodes now. Big thanks to the Commanche Valley Vigilantes and Lone Star Frontier Shooting Club for putting on an excellent event. Keep up the good work. If you're still here, thanks for watching, and I'll see y'all on the range.